In our last tutorial, we made lobster tails. Now let's make some macaroni salad to go with them. Load in your rotary blade and make sure your pattern is downloaded and saved in an accessible spot for Cricut design space. I'm going to hand sew this entire project today, so we will skip the sewing machine. Our felt colors today are dark red, dark green, kind of a yellowish green, and tan. The embroidery floss I'm going to use is like a dark mossy green for the pickles, and the rest of the thread will all be sewing thread. We will use dark red, beige or tan, and another mossy green. Perhaps you'll also want a comfy place to sit and a podcast or TED Talk or something like that. Make sure that you've downloaded both files for the macaroni salad. There's a file for the macaroni and there's a separate file for the veggies. I'm going to duplicate the veggies 3 times. I feel like that's a good ratio. However, the pieces in the finished product are going to be small, so keep in mind that this project may not be suitable for children 3 and under. Check your material and arrange your pieces accordingly. Select felt and select rotary blade as your tool. We'll start with the macaroni, which is pretty simple. You're just going to fold it in half nice and evenly. Thread your needle and we are going to just put it right in the corner. I'm going to show you how to keep the thread from going straight through the felt. We're going to go up and back and then make sure that you save a little bit of the loop. Then you'll take your needle and go up through the loop to create a little catch. Make sure the corners are tightly secured together. You can loop around them as much as you feel like you need to. Now we'll do a basted pleat stitch all the way up the edge of the macaroni. This is different than a whip stitch. Make sure you don't go around the edge. We're just going zigzag all the way up the side of the macaroni. Then pinch the edge with one hand and just pull the string through, and you should have a nice little curved shape just like that. Hold that tight so it doesn't come undone while you reinforce the very end of your stitch. And that's all there is to it. Easy peasy. I like to squish mine around a little to give it a little shape, but other than that, you're pretty much done. The pattern gives you 3 pieces for your pickles. You'll want to sew your seeds on first onto the lighter mossier green color. I'm just doing clusters of 3. If you like these designs, make sure you check out my Instagram page, Miss Maggie Lou Designs. Not all of the projects I make require a long tutorial, but I do like to have a visual to go with my patterns, so I do have a lot of content going there. When you're done sewing your seeds on, fit your pickle pieces together and we're going to blanket stitch the edges. While there are a lot of great tutorials out there for these basic stitches, I don't mind just taking it slow on this video today to show you what I know. We're going to make that same little loop. I just do that every time that I'm using regular sewing thread on felt. I'm going to hide my stitch behind this green piece here, but make sure you're watching both sides while you stitch so that your pickle isn't lopsided. After you've made a loop, throw your finger in there to catch it, and then come around and go back through the loop towards you. Then just pull it very gently. After you've tightened it, you're going to take your thread. You're going to go in right next to it. Try to keep these very even stitches next to each other. Loop it again, come back around, pull it gently tight, and see what you're doing is you're making a little line that's going to go across the top. These take a lot of practice. My first few projects just looked terrible, and they're going to look terrible until you practice them. Just keep doing that. The key with this is to keep the 2 sides of the thread even together. If you don't, then you have to kind of go back in there and re-even them out. See how that goes. Let's do one more before we speed things up. you get all the way around back to your first stitch, just make a little knot around it. You should have 3 pieces for each bell pepper. Just stack them so it gives it a little bit of substance in there. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to blanket stitch the edges. When doing the first side, I like to start in the middle and work my way out so that they stay even together. I like to use a beige or tan color on the inside to give it that color that you'll see on the inside of a bell pepper. I think this is the trickiest part. You just have to push the end of the bell pepper away so that it doesn't keep getting caught in your stitch. We are done. Thanks for hanging out with me on this tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe for more.